Hey guys, what's up? Austin back here for another video, and this is a little bit new. Yeah, not too long ago, we moved, and we're in a new location right now, and this is our office that we have. Office, spare bedroom, whatever it may be. Yeah, still getting some things worked out, so don't mind the mess. But today I wanted to talk about something that I don't actually think I've talked too much about on this channel, at least in great detail, and that is my current cymbal setup that I have on my drum kit at church. So not so long ago, aka a year ago, I unboxed a brand new pair of cymbals that I had gotten from Meinl over at Memphis Drum Shop, and from there on out it was all hands on deck when it came to purchasing new cymbals. I hadn't had a complete setup. The setup I had once I had those cymbals put on my kit was a 15-inch pair of hi-hats, an 18-inch crash, a 21-inch ride, and a 16-inch crash, which is not bad. It's a very generic setup, but for what I was getting into playing, it wasn't what fit the style, and it really wasn't what fit me. Now, those hi-hats, still my bread and butter. Love them to death. But I needed something that really fit what I was putting myself into. And what that was a lot of Southern gospel jazz. And that, I know that sounds a little bit weird, but it was more of a style of old hymnals, old gospel songs in a more jazzy sense, where they were more upbeat, lively, with a swing feel to them. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done plenty of gigs with that cymbal setup before, but for me, it just didn't fit. I did mix and match cymbals from time to time. My primary ride was my Sabian HH King ride. I also put my Meinl 21-inch transition ride as my left ride, extra crash, and I used that 18-inch crash on the right side with the 15-inch hats. I'm not saying I'm brand loyal. I mean, I have my brands I like, but I don't really like mixing and matching brands. Everything has to be the same, and that's just, I guess that's OCD, I guess that's just me being stupid, but for me, when it came to getting the right set of cymbals for my kit at church, I had to either invest in different Meinl cymbals or maybe go a totally different route. Now, if you're new to the drumming world and you do not know, cymbals cost a lot of money. So cymbals, they're not cheap. So about, I'd say a year ago, maybe not even a year, I come across this brand on Facebook, and there was a guy running a percussion bazaar off of Facebook. His name is Jonathan Singer, and actually back in 2018 he came to Marshall University and was our guest clinician for Day of Percussion. So I had previous run-ins with Jonathan Singer, and I was like, okay. So I joined the Facebook group, and he's selling a bunch of old percussion gear, old music, new old stock things like sticks, mallets, for prices that are, oh my gosh. There, after a while, I see he's selling some cymbals, and out of nowhere he's selling this one brand called Name Brand. I was like, never heard of them. Turns out he's one of the creators, founders, whatever you want to call it, of Name Brand. I'm like, oh, okay. So guy has some spare time making some cymbals. I start talking with a friend of mine who looked into it, and he said, these would be really good for a high school to invest in. Decent cymbals at a good price. I was like, yeah, you're right. So I was like, okay, I'll invest in some for this jazz group I work with at a local high school that my wife is a director at. I get them in, and I'm like, wow, these sound really good. The first cymbal we're going to talk about is my hi-hats. These are the 15-inch Pollock dry hi-hats. These have characteristics of very basic, dry, earthy cymbals. They're not the driest I've ever played on, and they are not the brightest I've ever played on. Kind of like a nice in-between. They are on the heavier side, and I typically like very light cymbals. But these ones, when you pair them with something like a Meinl Ching Ring, they have a characteristic that the bite is there, the pierce is there, but they disappear really quickly. Again, they are on the heavier side. They are unlathed on the top with some really nice distinctive hammer marks, and they are lathed on the inside. Up next is the stainless steel smack stack. Now this smack stack comes in the 14, 12, and 10 variation. They also offer an additional 16-inch stack that can go on the bottom. Again, made out of stainless steel. These are very much like almost every smack stack that you see out on the market, but with a little bit more bite and pierce to them because they are made out of stainless steel. Now moving on to my right side crash, this is the 20-inch OG Dry, and it's not labeled as a crash or a ride, and for good reason, because this is a cymbal that you can easily ride on, keep some time, and it's got its own characteristic sounds, and different places on the cymbal produce different sounds. But this cymbal also opens up really nice as a really good, loud crash. Now moving on to my ride cymbal, and to me the ride cymbal is one of the most important cymbals that you should invest in. And if you do not invest in a good ride, then you start to limit yourself of what you can do around the drum set. So this is the 22-inch Dry Ride. It's the first big cymbal that I purchased from Name Brand. And this cymbal to me has the characteristics of the Meinl Vintage Pure series. Really nice characteristics with the hammer marks, very random patterns. And finally, my right side crash, which is the newest addition to this lineup and the brand new series, the Liquid Smoke 18-inch crash. And boy, is this thing thin. Wobbly. That is thin. As soon as you hit it, it dies off. And it's not a crash that you'll just sit there and like wail on. It's meant for that effect. Well guys, that's my setup, and this is the setup that I'm probably going to be rocking with for quite a while. And like I said, I play a lot of old school Southern gospel, kind of like jazz style when it comes to this. These cymbals are dark. They don't push through the ensemble, the band, that much, and for the most part I play with a bassist, acoustic guitar or two, and a piano player. And they sit well. They don't require a lot of force to get good tones at them. There are a lot of characteristics wherever you hit on the cymbal, and it changes every single time. You pair it with a couple accessories and you're going to get unique sounds. You might even dull some sounds you don't want out, and it's just the setup that I thought I never knew I needed. And Name Brand is a really good brand for the price. So if you don't know who Jonathan Singer is or what he runs, the Third Floor Bazaar, I'll link it down in the more info section below. Go join his group. There are a lot of things that you can get from him, more than just cymbals. You can get actual big name cymbals, Zildjian, Meinl, Sabian, Peisty. He sold a lot of good cymbals at really good prices. He doesn't cheat you, and what you see is what you get. And a lot of times when he posts these cymbals, he posts sound demos in the comments so you know what you're buying before. And it's raw phone video, no compression, no fancy microphones, recording devices, nothing. So a lot of times what you hear is what you get. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions about any of my cymbals, please ask in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Go check out Jonathan Singer and his Third Floor Bazaar, and go check out Name Brand. They are changing the game, and it's for the better. Take care, guys.